goose herder for his set, it just fit my pistol. They had a hill built up, a fake hill for this set for Mother McCree, and the geese were getting down under the 2x4s under there, so they needed a fellow to herd them out, keep them out. So that was my first job with Mr. Ford. Well, Mr. Ford says, so you're a football player? And I said, well, playing at USC. He said, see how you get down. So I got down, braced on my forearms and my feet, and he just kicked my arms out from under me and stuck my nose in that mud that they'd made for Mother McCree, and I'll tell you, it wasn't the sod of old Ireland, and it really hurt. So not being interested in a motion picture career at that time, I said, let's try it again. Well, it's hard for one fella on the line to take out anybody when they can move wide on you. So as I thought he would, he started to go around this side, and I just whirled and kicked him and hit him in the chest, and it set him down on the part that goes over the fence last. And he looked up with a little surprise, and there was a deadly silence, and right then was a deciding point in my career in motion. A stagecoach for 3 weeks, and they had quite a bit of film in the box. He said, would you like to see some of the film? And I said, I'd love to. He says, all right, Lovey's cutting up there now, and you won't have to work for a couple hours. Go on up and tell him to run you. What the heck? So I went up and saw this, and it was beautiful photography. You know, it was wonderful stuff. And I came back, and he said, well, how'd you like it? And I said, oh, it's, you know, it's wonderful. He's the greatest photography. Well, he says, it was directed all right. And I said, oh, yeah, it's wonderful. He says, how was Mitchell? And I said, fine. And he said, how are you? And I said, well, I was playing you. You know what that part is. So he kept asking me questions. He says, well, how'd you like this? How'd you like it? He says, isn't there anything that you didn't like? And now my prop man thing, I said, listen, I told the prop man at the first of this picture to get some of those exerciser things to put at the end of those lines, so Andy'd have he says, okay, hold it, come on down off the lights. Everybody down. He got everybody in the center of the stage, and he said, I want you fellas to know something, that our star just loves the pictures that's going. He thinks he's fine in it, but he can't stand Divine's performance. Well, you know, luckily I was a good friend of Andy's, and he understood it. But I want to tell you, this fella puts you know, keeps pretty good control. About the second day on the picture, there's quite a big scene going on in which I have one line toward the end of the picture, or the end of the scene. And it's telling the sheriff that I'll go whichever way he goes. And in the meantime, to keep me busy in the background, he has me washing my face and drying it. And they're playing the scene. I was washing my face, and he'd say, cut. All right. He'd look over at me and say, let's do it again. And now I become conscious that he's certainly paying a lot of attention to me with that scene going on over there. So finally I did, and he says, cut. Duke, you're dabbing your face. Can't you wash? And I said, I am washing this. What more can I do? I'm using the towel hard like that. What more can I do? Well, a big scene came up, and he just bawled me out to where finally all the actors, the cast was completely on my side. And from then on, I had the cast helping me, you know, as my first time really in the big time, working with so many top people.
You think he planned it that way?
I know he planned it that way. As a matter of fact, he had little Tim Holt, who was not much more in the business than I, and Holt finally said, stop picking on Duke. And this topped it for Jack, you know, and then he knew he got his point across. I think he did it on purpose. He has a way of picking on actors when they're not too important a part of a scene in order to get them on the toes so they'll come in ready when they really have something to do. And then he handles you like a baby. Keen sense of when a thing is sentimental and when it is maudlin. And he's not afraid of those kind of scenes. As a matter of fact, one of the things that he told me early in my career was, Duke, you're going to get a lot of scenes during your life that are going to seem corny to you. And he said, play them to the hilt. If it's East Lynne, play it. And he says, you'll get by with it. But if you start trying to play it with your tongue in your cheek and getting cute, you'll something in to not distract from the scene, but give it a little humor and warmth. And that is when he came up with the idea of those little square glasses and had the fella look at all these troopers and put on the glasses to read what the gold watch said. And he had just added enough humor that it took the sting off of the sentiment in the scene.